Hey everyone, Carrie here. We're going to talk about how to resell, upcycle, have clothes come back to you in your clothing life, wardrobe life. It's the how-to guide, right, for vintage and modern day brand name stuff. So there's a lot of options out there. There's no reason why we can't be recycling our clothing. Landfills are filling up every day with clothing, and it's completely unnecessary unless it's like basically like, I don't know, socks with like holes in them, like old underwear, stuff that people aren't gonna wear, right? But for like slips, tops, t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweaters, skirts, dresses, pants, slacks, all of that stuff can totally be recycled. So here are some ideas on how to do this and my thoughts, whether it is current day fashion or vintage. So I do definitely like a hybrid of current day fashion and vintage myself. There's a lot of options in what you can do if you wanted to go to like say like Madewell, or if you wanted to go to H&M. Those are definitely a couple of options that you have. H&M, if you bring in a bag of clothing, it can be any name brand or like any brand whatsoever. They will give you a coupon, a thank you coupon, and then you can use that to more clothes from H&M. So that's definitely an option with updating your closet. The other thing that you can do if you're not wearing a pair of jeans anymore, you can bring in that denim piece to Madewell and they will give you a coupon off for a new pair of jeans from Madewell. So that's another idea on how to update your closet for if you wanted something that's like current fashion. If you wanted something that is either current fashion or maybe vintage, and you wanted to trade in clothing or sell clothing, you have the option of somewhere like Buffalo Exchange. Buffalo Exchange definitely has both brands there. The thing is that whether they're going to buy your clothing is up to the buyer at Buffalo Exchange. So you have to like go in, sign in, and then you have to like wait for them to call you. It depends on how many people are there. So you might have to like wait through a line, and then you are at the mercy of the buyer. So if you don't have stuff that they like, they are not buying your stuff. If you do have stuff that they like though, then they will probably buy it, but they still need to make a profit off of it. So you aren't gonna get a ton of money if you want cash. If you wanna do trade-in, then you'll get a little bit more. But then if you go and look around the store and you're like, well, what's going on around here? Somewhere like Buffalo Exchange is definitely like a place that caters to like, I would say late teens, 20s, maybe early 30 somethings. The fashion can be like definitely hit or miss. A lot of like what they have right now, I'm not super into. If you're gonna go to somewhere like Crossroads, it's kind of like the same as Buffalo Exchange. They don't really have the vintage there if you're looking for it, but they do have modern day fashion. They definitely cater to all different age ranges there, so that's not really a big deal. But again, you're at the mercy of the buyer when you're trying to sell your clothes. So it's, Russian roulette. Are they gonna buy your clothes or aren't they? And if they do buy your clothes, and you want to do the trade-in value for the higher rate, are you actually going to find something there that you like, right? Or are you just going to take the cash at a lower rate while they still make a profit off of you? These are good ideas if you don't want to go onto an online platform and sell your clothing, and you don't want to like wait to see if someone's going to buy something, right? So these are easy like day of options. They do involve a little bit of a wait time to an extended wait time depending on which day you go in. If you go in on like a weekend, you're gonna look at like hours of a wait time. So it's just something to be aware of. You can definitely do something like an online platform like Poshmark or Etsy. Poshmark is definitely for like more like current day themed fashion and name brand clothing. Their vintage doesn't really sell very well on there in my opinion. And the recommendations that they give for selling vintage on there aren't like the best. I feel like Poshmark just they don't have the strong hold on vintage that other places do online, such as Etsy Etsy, you can definitely price things. You can price things on Poshmark is like for like whatever you want. It's harder to move vintage on Poshmark because the vintage typically is very low priced on there, and there's not really a good understanding of how to price vintage on there. So with Etsy, you know, you kind of see like things a little bit more fairly priced, if not like up priced a little bit, depending on the item. And it might be up priced for a really good reason. It might be like some like designer brand that's in like really great shape, where like it's a 1 in a million piece, right? I would say definitely like if you're gonna go the Etsy route and open up your own storefront on there, to make sure that you're looking at what competitors are selling the same piece that you are for, and then pricing it accordingly. Also make sure that you're telling people if there's like rips, stains, tears. These are all really important things. So just being really honest will definitely help you, and help your reviews like later on. So Poshmark, really good for like current day themed things. Etsy is better for like vintage things. Etsy also, I will say, if you're like doing like arts and crafts, like that type of thing on there, it's really, really hard because they have people on there who have like mass produced arts and crafts items, and it's just, you can't compete with it for like the lower price that they're mass producing things at. But I feel like vintage is pretty safe on Etsy. It is 20 cents to post per thing on Etsy. Poshmark, they don't charge you to post things, but they will take a percentage at the end. Poshmark also asks you to like send like a little thank you note. Etsy doesn't ask you to send a thank you note or whatever, but also it's kind of like a nice thing to send a thank you note, or like just to, I don't know, be a human being and personalize things. So those are definitely options there. Your other option would be something like eBay. eBay, you know, it depends on like, I would say for like pricing things on eBay, so like you're definitely not going to, like you're gonna sell things, right? You're gonna get money, so you can definitely like update your closet with money. But with eBay, if you don't have something that's name brand or like of high value, right, like supply and demand, right? If you don't have something that's like super high in demand, then you're really not going to get a ton of money for it on eBay. A good example would be like Onitsuka's Tiger Mexico 66 SD shoe is like super high demand because they shut down the US headquarters. They're not really distributing anymore in the United States since this past November of 2023. Their shoes are like flattering on nearly anybody. They're like kind of a slim fit. They take zero time to break in. They're super comfortable, really well made, and you can't buy them anymore in the United States. There are sellers that I've seen from Japan on there that are selling them, and the prices are like a little bit elevated, but for the quality that you're getting and the demand of them, and you have your suppliers, so they're going to be able to, you know, basically say how much they want for it, right? So you're at the mercy of the seller there. For vintage though, just make sure that you're looking at like what other people are selling things. If you're going to sell like something name brand, you definitely can on eBay. It's just not really my preferred way to sell things. But I don't know, maybe it will be later, but for right now, it's definitely not my preferred. I prefer Etsy and Poshmark currently. Lastly, you can do something like donating clothes. So you can donate to places like Salvation Army or Goodwill. If you're gonna do it for a tax write-off, like basically you have to like, I don't know, you'd have to like donate like a mountain of clothing to get like any sort of tax write-off, like to be over the standard deduction in the United States. For me, it doesn't really matter how much clothing or how much of whatever I donate to thrift stores. I do donate every single year. And that is more so out of the kindness of my own heart. And these are also items that I can't necessarily sell or trade in. So it might not be the right season that buyers are looking for. like certain pieces of clothing and I just like need to get rid of things, or it might not be like the right style for the time, which like who cares, but I still need like room to bring in other pieces of clothing, right? So these are also really good ideas for just putting things back out into the universe and letting other people enjoy fashion. So those are my ideas, tips, and tricks for what to do in order to update your closet, and to offload clothing and bring new things in. So you have plenty of options. There's H&M, there's Madewell, there's Poshmark, there's Etsy, there's eBay. Excuse the honking, I live in the city, so it's just a thing here. And then there's, oh my God, I can't even think. So there's Etsy, Poshmark, eBay, Madewell, H&M, Salvation Army, the Goodwill. There's tons of options. So you have there's tons of options. So there's no reason that you can't recycle your clothing, and make like a little side hustle or update your closet. So these are my ideas. If you like, hit subscribe, and like this obviously, and I will be putting out more thoughts, tips, and tricks as we move through life. Take care. Bye.